All right, welcome everybody. Why don't we call the order at 5:01 this evening? So we'll move right on to item 2, Pledge of Allegiance. If everybody's ready. All right, I pledge allegiance
to the
to the
flag
flag of the United States
United
of
States of
America
America
and
and
to the
to the republic
republic for which it
which
stands,
stands
one
one
nation,
nation under
under
God,
God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and
liberty
justice
and
for
justice
all.
for all.
Great, thank you, everybody. All right, we'll move right on to item C, which is public comment. So we obviously have virtual public comment this evening. Do we have anybody in addition as a participant tonight, Devin?
Looks like we have one attendee, so we'll give them a moment. If you'd like to give public comment, you can raise your hand. All right, I think we're all set.
All right, excellent. Thank you very much. We'll move right on to minutes. So could I have a motion to approve the June 18th, 2025 minutes?
Motion.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we'll open that up for discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, motion passes. We'll move on to item E, correspondence received 6/17/2025 to 7/14/2025. Nothing included in our agenda packets for this evening, but always certainly provide a reminder to those who might watch this meeting at a later time to certainly provide any comments, thoughts, questions to us using our contact form, which is at the bottom of our homepage of the website. That's certainly active and available for, as I mentioned, any comments, thoughts, questions you want to provide to the committee. So please feel free to use that. We'll move right on to reports. Nothing specific for chair report this evening. So we'll go right on to F2, Town Council Liaison Report.
I don't have anything to report this evening either.
Okay, excellent. Any questions, anything for Sarah this evening? All right, then we'll go right on to Board of Education Liaison Report. Not sure if there's anything. I don't think Beth made it with us, right?
We haven't, I don't think we have anything to report.
Nothing specific, Kathy? Okay, great.
No.
All right, any questions at all regarding Board of Education or anything from anybody? All right, we'll move right on to 1928 Building Committee Liaison Report. Chris?
Nothing significant. It's just proceeding well and going fine right now. So nothing terrible to report.
All right, any questions for Chris?
Excuse me.
Okay, then we'll move right to Project Manager Report. Russ? There, I think I saw him, right?
Yeah. Russ, you're
Oh,
muted.
Russ, you're muted.
Yeah, you think after all these years, you'd learn to turn your mute off, right? I apologize. So
That's right.
still processing change orders, punch list stuff, and the site work is going to get wrapped up over the next 6 weeks or so before school gets done. Hope it started. Steel for the bleachers shows up tomorrow. They'll be setting that Friday and early next week. Let's see what else. That's about it. I can think of right now. Our contingency log, we're doing well still. We're remaining steady on that. As for the high school, the central office is not as bad as we originally projected, but we still have a couple change orders coming. And the construction manager contingency is still doing very well.
Okay, any questions for Russ on project progress or anything in the contingency log?
And we'll review the change orders, Meg, at the next phase.
Absolutely. Yep. Okay, there's no questions. We'll go right on to architect report.
End of last month, we issued landscape a substantial completion report for the phase 2 high school portion of the site. And this was issued to the owner and ONG. And we also continue reviewing and approving change orders and the contractors' payment applications. That's all. Any questions?
All right, if there's no questions, we'll move right on to construction manager report.
So site work, like Russ said, the bleachers, the steel's coming Thursday, so we're plugging along with that. The tennis court lights, we're trying to get those on the schedule for the next week or two. Central office is 100%. We're in the field house doing the upgrades there, so they're all sanded, all the plastics in, and we're gonna start painting tomorrow. I think that's pretty much all we have. That's all we have going on. And then change orders are gonna continue to come, and a lot of them the ones that are coming out now, a lot of them will go towards our contingency because they'll be for allowances that went over or items that we just have to get done.
Be honest.
So that's it.
All right, any questions for Jess or any other points of clarification on that? No. All right, we'll go right on to owner's rep move manager report.
At the central office, we have done some back punching, and at the high school, we walked through the open items list with ONG for those items to be completed, and attended the commissioning meeting. And that's all for the last month.
Okay, anything for Chris? Okay, that leaves us with communications. Obviously, nothing there as we have not been meeting as a communications subcommittee at this point. Financial subcommittee, I don't think there's anything else in addition, but please correct me, the rest of the committee. In addition to, obviously, we were going to do the review of our normal invoices and change orders, and then actually a little bit more of a detailed conversation on one specific change order that you have some supplementary detail on. Anything else? I don't think there's any other big topics coming out of financial. Is that true?
Nothing else I can think of.
Okay. Perfect. Anything financial report related, Kat, or we all study there too?
We do have a financial report.
All right.
It was that time of the year to renew our domain name. So we renewed the fhsbuildingproject.org registration. If you remember pre-referendum, we actually owned fhsbuildingproject.org, .net, and .com. I did not renew for all three. I only renewed for the .org, which is the one we use, and everything else rerouted. I think at this point in time, we only needed the one. So that's why it's that $47 charge. So still in this account, still in very good shape with the total amount we have on hand at just over that. I need my glasses, $31,000.
Yeah, what's the normal process for like the website once the project is officially over? What ends up happening?
I think I need to work a little bit closer with our IT department. I think for records retention for a municipality, we may have to transfer it somewhere so that it remains. But I'm in the process of working that out, exactly how we can archive it to preserve it for information.
Okay, great. All right, any questions on that as far as the additional charge? All right. The brings us right to G, new business. So could I have a motion to approve the following invoice package for Farmington High School as presented?
Motion.
So moved. Second.
All right, we'll open it up for discussion.
Okay, so the first invoice on here, Devin, I'm sorry, I need I'm turning into Russ, I think, huh?
Hey, wait, don't shame me.
So the first invoice is from TSKP Studios in the amount of $63,000 for their construction administration through June 30th. The next invoice on here is Russ's invoice for the month of June, $7,001.28. This is for the hours worked on the project and, as always, supported by his weekly timesheets. The next invoice on the agenda is Arcadis. For the high school portion this month, it is $487.50 for the owner's representative services for the high school portion. And then we are on to change orders.
All right, Dev, in light of Cat's comment, can you zoom in a little for me, buddy? The first change order, all the change orders have gone through our decision-making group as standard operating procedure. The first change order, 233, is for our attic stock glazing credit. We didn't need to take all the windows to have them in place for our stock. We took a credit for $5,818. GCO 254, furnish and install bollards at the gas meter and adjust the sidewalks. This is for the central office. The gas meter is on the end of the building on the football field side. And there were bollards there. Originally, there was a fuel tank out there that was all removed and the sidewalks got relocated closer to the building. So with mowing and snow plowing equipment, we needed to install bollards and we had to adjust the sidewalks to move it farther away as well at the central office for $15,870. Do we want to wait on this one? Do this one at the end? Meg?
Yeah, why don't we? Yeah, that makes sense. And then we can get into the discussion. I think that makes sense, Russ.
Yep, thank you. 262, this is a scaffold rental to complete contract work in stair 1 for $16,085 coming out of the construction manager contingency. Had a discussion with this at our financial subcommittee meeting. Basically this, with all the change orders that incorporated into the project, this contract work, given the fact that we had over 200 change orders on the building, we didn't add any time to into the contract because the school had to be open by August 23rd. I felt it was appropriate to pay the $16,000 for the rental for the scaffolding. Back to the revised fire alarm programming. So we discussed this at pretty good length at our subcommittee meeting last Friday morning. The programming for the fire alarm in association with the smoke ducts and everything on the system, they would get condensation, anything or how it was originally programmed. The alarm would send out an alarm that the system would get shut down. The fire department would show up in full gear like it was like the building was on fire. So in order to reduce those call-ins, we asked them to reprogram the alarm system so that these types of alarms would only go to the supervisors, like the head maintenance, janitor, and a couple other people, so that the school would remain open. We don't have a full emergency response, for something that wasn't truly an emergency. We asked, and part of the meeting on Friday, Siraj we asked for additional information from Archana and the architect team, and that memo is here to add a little more depth to the whole situation. But the biggest issue was not to have, or an alarm system, a minor alarm that wasn't a safety related, it wouldn't call for a whole response from our emergency personnel, fire, police, etc. So I'll wait. I don't know if people have had a chance to review this yet.
And Russ, if I could, I'd like to add, my camera's not working, so I apologize for the technical difficulty here, but we did go and verify with the architect's engineer with Colaronin that the devices were working appropriately. We verified that they were pitched correctly and sealed. And it was only the devices that were sitting. What's unusual, a little bit unusual about this project is you have exterior ductwork that ties into a rooftop unit, a small section. So when you have a slug of hot air, when the unit calls for heating, in the cold of February morning or in the evening, it basically would create almost like your, hot breath outside on a cold winter day. It would immediately fog that little mirror on the device. We did not have any issues with any of the interior duct smokes, but as a housekeeping measure, the fire marshal did request, again, because when the duct smoke goes off, it's, I don't want to say it's a nuisance, but it's not something where the fire trucks need to roll in. So he asked us to program all the devices within the building, even the ones that are inside conditioned spaces, to a supervisory alarm, which is done on other buildings. So it's not a one-off. And I believe the other buildings in town are set up the same way. And one additional item that is not related to the duct sensors, but since we were going to be reprogramming the fire alarm, the wand doors, the fire doors, he specifically asked that only the devices that are near those doors. So if a fire detector sensed an actual fire near those doors, they would actually shut, and not a fire door or not a device completely across the building. And that would, because those fire doors don't have to go off if there's nothing occurring in the immediate vicinity. So we would be reprogramming those devices as well. So we're capturing, one other small issue that the fire department had to deal with in one overall change.
So thank you, Russ and Nelson, for covering what's in the memo. So there's one more item that we had issued in the change order, was this kind of insulated box that covered the smoke detectors on the roof. So this PCO does not cover that change. So this is just for revisions to the programming of the smoke detectors. So that'll be another change, another cost that you'll be seeing in the future.
In that cost, I don't see the magnitude of that cost being, because it's an insulated box, it shouldn't be at the level, at this $11,000 proposal.
Okay.
But this involves quite a few hours, and we'd like to do this before the start of the school year. Quite a few hours of going and ringing out the fire alarm and reprogramming it, so that it's we don't have to run, because a bypass has been to run the system during the winter months continuously, so that you don't have that slug of hot air hitting a cold device. So once we actually changed the units in that manner, we didn't have any more alarm situations. But you also don't want units running 24/7, because you're gonna have costs that will offset the cost, substantially offset the cost of this proposal. And the fire department does want it this way.
I think coming out of finance, and Suraj, you can jump in on this too, I think the question was focused around the cost as and its relation to the amount of effort. I think that was what we were trying to understand is, it's the way it's explained as a reprogramming and showing as a $11,000 cost. I think that's what people were just trying to get a better handle and understanding on. So I don't know, Suraj, if that's helpful or not, or you need more info.
No, I understand that, but to me, the basic question is how would they not anticipate this? That's my question, right? I mean, this is not the first time they're installing this. For them to install it in a different.
Well, the contractor installed it in accordance to the drawings and the specification. It's just the unusual aspect of this job.
So is it the architecture team?
And well, the engineer even agree, they wouldn't issue a proposal request if they didn't agree that it was a scope change, but having those 6 units on the roof with a device where you have a section of exterior ductwork, even though it's insulated, you're still getting that very cold air hitting a device that uses a mirror and an infrared light, almost like your garage door. And any sort of fogging, it believes that there's smoke in the duct when there really is not. So we did verify that the devices are working properly. And with the engineer, the team, a programmer does cost a lot more money than a carpenter or a mason. So these programmers do, they have a specialty field, and their unit rate is a lot higher. I do know it's not, just one day's worth of work. They go in and they have 2 people, one programming, and then, they ring out the entire building. So they have a monitor and they go through all the devices within the building. It's not just taking 5 or 6 devices and reprogramming those. I wish it was that easy, but it's not.
No, I understand, but I think my only question was, this is a standard installation. I mean, it's not something unique we are doing for the school. So if someone doesn't do it right, they should own it, right? I mean, why are we being made to pay for it?
Well, we did verify that it was installed in accordance with the documents and the specified device. Not all buildings have fire alarms, or the duct smokes go into alarm mode. They go into supervisory mode. But the issue was identified, and then the fire department provided their input as far as what they wanted to see, standard to the other buildings, municipal buildings that they have in town. And that's how this change did originate. On the engineer or the design part, I can't speak for TSKP or Coloradoan, but we did, in consultation with them before pricing anything up, or even before we even received a proposal request, we troubleshooted. We had on-site meetings, numerous, and actually we did some test, some different ways of, but more on the box that's not part of this proposal, excuse me, but we had extensive discussions with the fire marshal, with Coloradoan, which is TSKP's consultant, TSKP as well. And it's an issue that was identified on this project, and for a small area, but if it was only those 6 devices, we'd probably be talking a lot less money. But the fire department did request that even the interior devices be reprogrammed, also the wand doors as well. So it's not the standalone duct smoke detector. There's a little bit of other things that they requested in this proposal. So that's why the 11,000 is the number that you're seeing.
Yeah, but I still don't understand though. I mean, to me, it seems someone suggested it to be done. They programmed it the way we asked them to.
Suraj, I don't think there was discussions about the programming back when the design was going on. I think this was a standard, how they set it up, and nobody caught it, nobody realized it until this started, the smoke duct started tripping the alarm. And then given the amount of response that happened several times, and it was a waste of response time, effort, costs, and safety, that's where the change generated from.
I'm not convinced, but I don't know what others wanna decide on this.
Yeah, Suraj, if you see on the memo, Corcoran describes that they've done this as exterior application several times without any issue in the past, is what they're saying. So yeah, I can't speak for them, but that's their justification.
All right, we'll open it up to any other thoughts or additional questions on this one, or additional explanation. Okay. All right, it was helpful to understand, at least, Nelson, like you said, that it was beyond it was all of the alarms. So you talked about internal everything to have a better understanding of some of the additional work that was done there. So that was helpful to understand.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, so before we move on to item G2, we do need to vote. So all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
That would be me.
All right, thank you, Suraj. Appreciate that. All right, but the motion does pass. All right, we will move on to item G2. So could I have a motion to approve the following invoice package for central office as presented?
Motion.
Second.
All right, we'll open this up for discussion.
Okay, so the first invoice in the central office package is O&G's pay application for $804,273.51. This is reviewed by O&G as well as the architect for the work that it has been performed in this time period. So I'm not sure, Jess, if you have any comments to add for this, or it seemed pretty straightforward when we went over it in finance subcommittee.
It is. It's straightforward. We made a couple of cuts and it was just because of allowances and I didn't have the logs.
Okay, perfect. The next invoice is for TSKP. This is for the central office portion, $2,800 for the professional services rendered through June 30th. Next, we have IES. This is our commissioning agent. This is for work performed for the central office for commissioning, $1,650. This was reviewed and recommended for payment by O&G just to confirm that this work had been completed at the days and times that they put on this invoice. So that has been recommended for payment. Next, we have Arcadis. This is their invoice for the central office portion, $1,620. And then we have Environmental Systems Company. This is a technology change order that was bid for specifically for central office. Matt Ross reviewed, approved that these materials and supplies and technology were received and recommended for payment. And then we have one invoice left for J.C. Schultz Enterprises. This was part of our FF&E package. A small portion of that, $402.53, was for flags throughout central office. So that was reviewed and approved when we did the central office FF&E package. And I think we're on to change orders.
All right, PCO 243 is install plumbing in a drain pump in area F break room room number 4135 for $11,179.75. There was a miss in the plans. They didn't call for any plumbing or drainage for the kitchen sink in the break room, and obviously in the break room we need plumbing. So that's what this change is for. PCO 247, install common enclosures area vestibule. This is part of that change order we had last month to complete the design and construction in the vestibule area. And we completed for $2,293. Change order 261, we have additional cleaning for area F post punch list. Central office, the Board of Ed requested to have an additional cleaning once all the punch list items were corrected. And it was in the amount of $2,582. Was that the last one, Deb?
That's it.
Okay. If there's any questions?
All right, if there's no questions, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, so that leaves us to move on to item H, other business. I believe we only have one additional item. So could I have a motion to cancel? Well, actually, before we do that, we just want to confirm that this is to cancel the August 1st meeting. Just want to confirm with our professional partners that there's no need at this point based on timing or urgency of anything for us that we need to keep that on the calendar. Anything that we're aware of right now?
And that's for, the date is August 6th.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I read the text, the 1st August, which would, sorry, my fault, August
No
6th.
problem.
At this point, I don't see a reason to have the meeting. Kat?
I agree. There's no
Yeah, I don't think so.
pending or urgent.
Okay. All right. Just want to confirm just to make sure before we take it off the calendar. So could I have a motion to cancel the August 6th Farmington High School Building Committee meeting?
So
Motion?
moved. Second.
Any additional discussion? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Motion passes. All right. I think that brings us to the end of the agenda, unless there's anything else we need to cover. Anybody else have any final thoughts, comments, questions? Okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Oh, second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We will adjourn at 5:34 this evening. Thank you, everybody.